The City of San Marino appreciates everybody's attendance, and so Citizens Interest provides the Recreation Commission, all of us here, with valuable information regarding issues of the community. Regular meetings are held on the fourth Monday of August, October, January, March, April, and May. And in compliance with the American Disabilities Act, any person with a disability who requires a modification or accommodation in order to participate in this session should contact the City Clerk's office at 626-300-0705 at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. And so with that, I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. And why don't we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, everyone. Thank you
That's
very
okay.
much.
Thank you.
So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over for a roll call.
Okay. Chairperson Raymond Wu.
Present.
Vice Chair Haosutsugu. Here. Commissioner Melissa Buzel.
Here.
Chunyan Chen. Here. Louise Cook.
Here.
Stephanie Perry. And Timothy Yu.
Here.
Thank you very much. The regular meeting agenda is posted 72 hours prior to each regular meeting at the following locations. It's posted at City Hall at 2200 Huntington Drive, here at the Kroll Library, 1890 Huntington Drive, as well as the Recreation Department at Stoneman, located at 1560 Pascalito Drive. The special meeting agenda is also posted on the city's website at www.cityofsanmarino.org. And so with that, seeing that we don't have anyone here from the public, no? But we'll cover it anyway. Section 5495 4.3 of the Brown Act provides an opportunity for members of the public to address the Recreation Commission on any item of interest to the public that's within the subject matter jurisdiction of this Recreation Commission. So with that, we're going to move on to the first item there, the approval of the minutes. And so,
I move to approve.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes? We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor, I'm sorry, all those in favor of approving the minutes say aye.
Aye.
All those that disapprove say nay. Okay, there we go. The motion carries. The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
And we need to take roll again.
Yes. And so why don't we go ahead and
Do the roll
take
call.
Yes.
Okay. Chair Raymond Wu.
Here?
Vice Chair Haosutsugu.
Here.
Commissioner Melissa Buzel.
Here.
Commissioner Chunyan Chen.
Here.
Louise Cook.
Here.
Stephanie Perry. Timothy Yu.
Here.
Okay, terrific. And so the first item of business there is the continued business, re-envisioning recreation programming update. And so with that, I'll turn it back over to a wonderful staff.
Welcome, everyone. What you have before you is the recreation needs assessment. And on Thursday, we had, basically we had 3 presentations, and many of you were there because I recognize many of you. We had a 3 o'clock, we had a 6 o'clock meeting, and we also had a 9:30 meeting. I think some of you knew about that, but I'm not sure if all of you knew since there was Brown Act issues. And so we had, we did a presentation, and Eddie and myself helped present it along with Greenplay. His name is Art Thatcher. He also did presenting, but he wasn't in the meeting. He was in North Carolina on video. But he was very helpful and gave a lot of good information also. We were unable to have him today, and we're not going to make the presentation today. So basically, this is a receive and file today. But the good news is on January 31st, which is coming up right around the corner on Friday, at the council meeting, we are going to make another presentation. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I'm sure many of you have questions, but since it's a receive and file, that's basically what you're going to do. You can go through it and ask questions. If you have questions, you can call me on them, or you can show up to the meeting. There's other opportunities, but this is a receive and file item tonight.
Yes, I need clarification, Josette. I know that this coming Friday, the city council will get the survey.
They will.
Okay? And they also have the Blue Ribbon Committee report 2 years ago, and they have the Stoneman report, again, about 5 years ago. So I would assume that at that point, they have excellent information. My concern is that, oh, and Councilman Udi, you're here. My concern is that they don't kick it down, the can down the road. And I can say one thing about Councilman Udi. He says what he thinks, and let the chips fall where they may. I really appreciate that. And we need more of that, because regardless of what the council, city council people do, some people will be happy, some people will be unhappy. It is impossible to please everybody. I mean, so that is my hope. But for ourselves, I need some clarification, Josette, as what is our role as commissioners, because we see changes need to be, do we need to wait, I would assume, till we have a permanent director, who in that case, he or she will set the tones? Is that what or are we to advise this, but do we have the information? Or what is our role on programming and re-envisioning?
Well, I think right now it's going to be, we have to wait for the council to get it. And I think we really need to wait for their determination and their direction. And I think based on their direction, next steps will be agreed upon and we'll move forward. And so, and I do think that you do need to possibly wait for the new director. I would think that that would be the other thing. But let's let the council get it first.
I would say don't be passive. I would say don't be passive.
Don't be passive. I've never been passive. No, seriously.
I would say you have the same data that the council would have. You've been closer to it than anybody on the council. So I would say come and make your recommendation. And the recommendation should be the strategy around it and the costs associated with it.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think where we got into trouble before is this group wasn't making strong recommendations in light of, you know, the audience we were serving, the role of the city in child care, and the budget implications of it.
See, because you've been very clear on your concern, are we in the preschool business? I have felt the same way, but they were asking that same question 20 years ago.
Right.
And so I just don't want a continuation of that. That's my...
And my personal bias in that is I am personally concerned about the liabilities of the city
I feel the
being
same way.
in the child care and education business. I don't necessarily think that's our role when there are other alternatives out there, or if the school district wants to step up and...
See, like, for example, like on the after-school care, you know, I thought maybe we can partner with the Unified School District, because they're your kids, you know, and we could, you know, in other words, well, we won't do that here tonight, but I just was confused as to what is my role. I said, are we supposed to wait for the staff to tell us what they think? But I guess we need to wait until we get a new director who will give us an overall.
But you know,
I would not wait. I would not wait. If you are passionate about recreation and the role, I would look at not having a director as an opportunity, as opposed to a liability of sitting back and waiting. Because trust me, if you wait and it comes to the council budget time, there's going to be decisions with or without your input. So I would get active and, you know.
Well, see, Ken, from my standpoint, I've always felt that the older people are marginalized. So I just created a Smarter Living series, and we're packing them in because I want them to be empowered with information. And they hunger for that. You see, I mean, I just did that on my own. But
But that was great.
Okay.
You did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
I'll
take it under. I'll take it under. But I really appreciate, Councilman, the fact that you say what you think.
And I would also, you know, yes, be concerned about the numbers, but don't be concerned about the numbers. Because when somebody always goes to me and says, what's the budget? I always say, what's the idea?
Yes,
Because there's no money for a bad idea, there's always money for a good idea.
I like
right?
that.
And even if you would say, or if you would recommend that the city should not be in the childcare business, but that's where rec brings in positive cash flow,
Uh-huh,
okay, so that's gone, fine. What's the idea, what's the recommendation? And what percent of the city budget should go towards recreation? 0.5%? 1%?
all right, then I'll
10%?
ask something that's positively revolutionary. I've never understood why San Marino why do we have cost recovery? Other cities, is that a legitimate question or not?
I think it's a legitimate question, and I don't understand cost recovery, because if you gave me 85% cost recovery, I could bankrupt the city in 5 years and still be within the 85%.
Yeah,
I could, so I don't
Okay.
like cost recovery. I
Okay.
like, what's the number you need? Is it $500,000? Is it 0.5% of the city
Yeah.
budget? What's the number you recommend for recreation, and what's it gonna be used for? And what's the benefit gonna be to the taxpayers of
Okay.
San Marino?
thank you. That answers,
Good information.
Yeah, and this is a very good forum to discuss concerns such as what you have. And I very much echo Councilman Udi's point of, well, we're all on here for a purpose, and that is to advise the city council of what we think recreation ought to be, considering a whole host of things. And so we don't necessarily need to wait until it's fully established to even consider thinking about it, because things always change, and unfortunately, the council doesn't necessarily have the luxury of pressing the pause button as well. And so this is a good part of what we're doing, to be able to have a session where we're able then to share this way and to discuss and have a good.
Yeah, and I believe the council does listen to the Public Safety Committee and their recommendations. And they do
Well,
listen to
all the
library.
committees, you would have to.
Yeah, I mean, because I always go, like specifically around like planning and design review, some cases come up to us and I go, shit, I'm not trained in this. I'm not close to it, so who's trained and who's close? And you gotta rely on their solid recommendations.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I disagree with you,
Okay,
Ken.
that's fine.
Okay, we are active. We've been very active. We're so active. We work together with the Blue Ribbon Committee. The opinions of our recreation and the Blue Ribbon is not what you agree with. We've been active. We've been making recommendations all this time, and you haven't been listening to us. I mean, you're still on this childcare. If you really think that it's a liability, why don't you do a study and see what the liability is in doing this? Because I think childcare is a very important part of this department.
Okay.
And I think that you've been here. Don't you think we're active?
Yeah.
I mean, we make recommendations
I
all
would
the
say
time.
go ahead and put together your recommendations and the associated budget recommendations that I think have been missing. And I was a part of the Blue Ribbon Committee, and, I'm not anti-rec, so just put together your...
Well, I don't know about
proposals.
that. You don't show me that you're not anti-rec. I mean,
Okay, excuse me, Hal.
I'm sorry, I'm still talking, okay?
That's fine, that's fine.
He is our council member. I'd like to express my
But this is a
opinion.
commission meeting, so we have a lot of other items, but okay.
We only have two more items. Do you want me to continue, even though?
Can you make it brief? Go ahead, but make it brief.
So, my recommendations are many, and if that's something that you want us to do, we will do it. One thing is, we shouldn't have administration as part of this list of things that we have to create revenue. That should be on your side. That's
fine. I mean, I would say...
that's something that, you need to know. And we've been talking about how important recreation is. And we've been saying that, and you've been opposing us all this time.
I think we have some options that we
Now,
haven't
I would
talked
say
about.
my opposition has not been to recreation, is because we haven't seen, I have not yet seen a plan with numbers and allocations. So I invite you to please put together a plan, and if you need help putting together the numbers, and
We've had plans before.
I don't remember seeing one, but, you know, let's get that done, and I would recommend you get that ahead of the budgeting process, so that.
There's a
Mr.
couple things that we
Chair,
can do.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to convene a session to go one at a time to see what to express to the council the recommendations.
We have a couple options. We could, and I'll give them to you. We could, as you say, we could have a special meeting where you could have a workshop and kind of talk about all of that, or there's a Brown Act issue, so I don't know exactly, I think maybe 3 of you at a time could meet, maybe it's 2.
How about the whole group?
I said a special meeting, that's one. You could do a special meeting, that's one way you could do it. The other option is 2 or 3 of you could work on a couple of options. Another option is 1 or 2 of you could come and see me, and we can start talking about it, and I can help you put the numbers together, because I have staff that's really good at the numbers. And you could come to me and we could start working on some of the programs and activities that you have ideas for. And then we could start working on the numbers. Then we could have a special meeting and we could bring it all back and then we could tweak it. Because there is a budget, there's always gonna be a budget.
So how about
That
all
is
of
being
the
brought
above?
up as part of new business, the discussion of budget. Are you thinking maybe it's something a little deeper than?
Well, it sounds like
numbers?
Mr. Udi is saying that this is a high priority for us and that we need to get it in sooner than later.
Right.
Our recommendation through the budget process. And I think that that's something that we should aim for, if that's something that would satisfy your
I
wants.
bet you that the budgeting process is gonna go, staff is gonna make a recommendation for each department, police, fire, public works, recreation. And I bet you the council will then ask for what the appropriate commission's thoughts are around the budget priorities and the budget numbers.
Well, we could provide that.
What would be the target of our budget numbers? Are we then?
That's something staff could help.
Well, we can help you with that.
Yeah.
I think we can help you with that.
I think they've
If-
got
When we start
instructions.
working through some of the programs and activities that we value, that we would like to bring or eliminate, and we can start talking about that, then with staff's assistance, we can help you put some numbers to it. And that's the beginning steps. You have to have your first steps.
That's, my motion is to move forward with a recommendation to eventually get to the city council prior to the budget discussions of the council.
So I gave you a couple of options. Do you want to do a special meeting first, or do you want to do it individually? You weren't clear for me to make a motion.
Well, you gave me 3 choices.
I know, so which one?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to think about this. I'm thinking, you threw 3 options. I'm thinking all 3.
My recommendation is this commission has the results of this study. You have the Blue Ribbon Committee's report, and you have the report from a few years ago. Throw them all against the wall and see what sticks. And come back with, based on that, what you think the priorities are and what the numbers look like to put that into action.
Before we talk with the motion, how close are we to next year's budget? Is the staff, so even
What's
if
the
we
date, sir?
convened a special,
Pardon me? I'm sorry.
even if we convened a special meeting, I don't think we're starting from square one, so we would have to start from a proposed set of numbers, which I think then the staff already has, maybe?
We have some numbers.
Is that-
We know
Okay.
what everything costs right now that we're already doing.
Okay,
New programs and our activities are eliminating things or whatever the choices are.
Right.
Of course, we don't know those numbers at this
Right.
point. But what's the budget schedule? When's our next meeting?
So the next meeting, I believe, is in February, mid-February, 28th.
I can.
Well, Amanda, let them know what the budget schedule looks
Yeah,
like.
let me give you a brief overview. By the way, if I have I'll have Amanda Fowler, I work in the city manager's office. This Friday, as they talked about, we're talking about priority initiatives. That'll probably be less focused on rec because all of rec is really a priority initiative being re-envisioned.
Right.
So the meetings that matter, mid-February is gonna be the kind of financial forecast, the 5-year review. And then it's actually in the end of February, we'll be doing the finalizing of the priority initiatives. March will be the capital improvement program budget. So that's the hard expenses, if there's anything capital that's gonna be going, so potentially something for RAC would be that. And then the key meeting, I think, for you in terms of this re-envisioning project and your recommendations would be the April meeting. In April, we'll bring the draft, kind of rough draft permanent budgets to council for their review. That won't be the final take, we'll then take council's input on them and come back in May. But so having it by that April meeting with your recommendations and kind of a management plan, so then Robert and the team will be working on is kind of that new plan for recreation will be going to council in April.
Okay.
But normally when you present to the council,
So-
will
I
give
still
you
have
kind
the
of
motion.
direction,
Oh,
what
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
baseline to be, right?
No,
I don't give you a baseline?
I think it depends. I think sometimes I think this is like Vice Mayor Udi said, it's in terms of what we believe is the best budget with what the permanent audit, what the cost will be. Typically departments use their last year as a baseline to think about what could be changed, what could be cut, what could be added. But recreation's kind of had more of a blank slate this year.
Okay. Is there a concern that if we consider recreation, well, and maybe not, now that I'm thinking about it, if we just simply consider recreation costs, are we somehow then,
It's priority, and it's things that we could eliminate to
so,
save costs.
right, but what I'm thinking is, well, if we assign a number, sometimes it's out of context. Because
We don't
it might
know
be in
that.
consideration,
We don't really don't know that. We're not even there yet.
right?
So we
Okay.
kind of want to see, I think this whole
I mean, it's
table
worth exploring.
around here knows what recreation is, and I know that they all know what the priorities are.
Right.
And we've been doing this for many, many years.
Okay.
And like Luis was saying,
Mhm.
you know, I don't think we should kick the can any further. I think we should, we
So
should.
how about we suggest a workshop meeting where we bring all three of those items, the blue ribbon, this document that we have before us, and have a workshop?
Well, we
and
did that
let's-
already.
Well, let's do it again.
How about if you guys
Right.
consider my motion still on the table?
Yeah,
What was
because
your motion?
I
Tell
think
me
your
your
motion
motion
is to convene a special group.
A special
to-
meeting.
A special meeting to go ahead and then prioritize the programs and then assign numbers to it, right? Which is the budget.
I mean, that's a good start, I think.
Okay.
And then present, and then have staff present it.
So
or-
can you
and
say your
recommend that.
motion?
Or
one more time
recommend it
for-
to staff and then staff then. Do you think it'll be helpful to have council represented there so then it'll help them direct?
Well, we have council representation right here.
Oh, right, at the special meeting.
That's fine. I don't see this as a closed meeting. I think,
Okay.
So do we want to do the special meeting? Is that what I'm hearing?
Okay, so the
Is that
What
whole,
I'm hearing is a special meeting to review the Blue Ribbon Committee's recommendations plus the RRC's recommendations and come up with the priorities for the next budget year, or fiscal year.
right, with
Is that-
numbers.
And with numbers and the associated.
and I'll accept that amendment.
Okay, let's
If-
do that in February.
Okay.
Okay, well, we
Next
need to
month?
vote first.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
just
so we have a
giving
motion
date.
on the table. Do we
I'd like to
have-
put a date on
Yeah.
it.
I'll second that.
Did you capture the motion? Okay.
So Timothy.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a second, let's put it to a vote. So all those in favor say aye.
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 No, I need to be.
Oh, discussion,
I'm not
okay.
hearing, and neither is she.
Okay.
You know, so what is our motion? Clearly,
You want to read the motion back?
would you read it, Robert?
So House Utsugu moves to hold a special meeting to review the Blue Ribbon Committee report as well as the Green Play LLC Recreation Needs Assessment Report
Okay.
to be able to develop and prioritize recreation programs for the next budget year.
Acoustics are bad. Okay,
Yeah, that's-
'Cause I care.
That's good enough. I mean, we could expand
Thank you.
that as we go through the special meeting. I mean,
Okay.
really prioritize and see where we could be more efficient.
So it's on the table. We need.
Okay, so.
It's been seconded.
Oh, wait,
And we all
Second.
voted yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, the ayes have it.
So
The
you
motion
will,
carries and,
you will receive an email from me asking for some times and dates that will work for everybody,
Okay.
and you'll receive that very soon.
I think it's an open meeting.
Yeah, this
Well,
is
it
Brown.
has to be, it has to
Okay.
be, because it's a forum.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other discussion?
Sorry, I have to, I mean, I was at the Thursday night meeting, and I think that a lot of information wasn't there that we had earlier, like at 3 o'clock. And I think those might be beneficial to the audience in knowing that. One thing was the cost recovery sheet. That was one thing that was missing in the night meeting. So you didn't have anything to compare it to. Like, people were saying, that's a money loser, it's a money loser. I mean, in the 3 o'clock meeting, we heard that the average cost recovery is 27% nationwide. And we're at 83%.
Right.
I mean, that's a big deal.
Sure.
But yet, that wasn't mentioned. And I think the public needs to know that. And they're saying, we're losing money, we're losing money. Well, you know, almost half, if not more than half, is above 100%. How could that be? And I know your theory, Mr. Udi, but I think that is a big impression on how well our recreation department works. I think they do a great job. I think they're making it as efficient as possible.
I agree.
I mean, there's a lot of things that could be adjusted, because I never believed that administration should be a part of this cost recovery. There's no way you could have administration as cost recovery. Take it out. And then, and that would be part of the special meeting, I think, is to suggest or recommend to the city council's ways in which we could strategically make recreation more efficient.
The final written report, do you think we'll have it? It probably won't be out by mid-February, is that correct?
Let me talk to Art Thatcher and see
Okay.
what the date is that we get the final report.
Okay.
And he said a month, so that could be the end of February, so, and I'll make sure.
I would not wait for the final report. You got 80% of it, 85%
Yeah,
of it. so-
not always, because the challenge that I have with the PowerPoints is PowerPoints don't always tell the right story. So maybe like to Commissioner Howe's concern, you read through some of the PowerPoints, and sometimes picture can mean different things to different people.
But I do think, I agree with Vice Mayor Udi that we need to start having the conversation.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Let's not wait for all the pieces,
yeah.
because I think each and every one of you have an idea and a vision and a bit of a passion, so let's start the process.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not suggesting that we wait. What I'm thinking though is, because a different presentation was done in the evening, and so that's why I'm wondering, that we don't have the full official report. And so it would be nice to have sort of a,
And as soon as I get that, I'll make sure that you get copies of
okay,
that.
because otherwise, like Commissioner Howe's concern isn't fully
Sure.
addressed, so.
In addition, the slide on resident versus non-resident, I think that was a good chart.
Sure.
And it kind of shows that it's not non-residents taking over recreation. We, as our own people, our own community, is using it. And I think that should be made known. And those are two great slides that was left out. And kudos to Art. I mean, he's actually, I like it when he talks, because he is an expert. He's
Sure.
he's been around the nation quite a few times, and he knows what's a bad program, and he knows what's a good program. He knows what is successful and what is not. And in what I'm hearing, he's really saying that we have a really good program here. And
Good. I'm glad you're pleased with his work.
I think that when he speaks up, people will listen, or at least will consider listening.
Sure.
I mean, we can't change everyone's mind.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I think with an expert at the table, I think some of that can be, resolved. So those are my recommendation for
Okay.
Friday's meeting, is to include those, at least include those two. slides.
Well, Art is gonna make the presentation, and he has less time than he did before. He has about 10 minutes, so I'm not sure he's gonna include those. Just letting you know that in advance. He may, but I'm not sure. I'll mention it to him, but he does have 7 to 10 minutes. It's a council
It's
meeting.
not a run.
There's a lot of things in there that you didn't have to include.
Okay.
Okay. Before we leave that topic altogether, I really do value our conversation here. For those who attended either the evening session or maybe the afternoon, are there any thoughts on your end that maybe you want to share in? Any additional thoughts regarding the presentation? I just want to make sure that we have this good forum to sort of converse.
Okay.
Okay, if not, okay.
I thought it was a good presentation that
Oh,
Art
good.
had. And I think the staff did a really good job of maintaining order in that evening meeting. So kudos to everyone there.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank the staff, thank the council for making money available. All those who participated, thank you very much for that. So kudos to everyone.
Yeah, I'll just second that. I thought staff provided a lot of helpful insight. Art was phenomenal. I'm glad he was able to be there telephonically, or video conference or whatever that.
I was
Yeah, you
worried
guys
about
made it
but
work.
did
Thank you.
work.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I thought it was very informative. And I wish more people from the public had attended. That was my only, and I don't know if there's a way to get the word out more. And the only other thing, I voiced this directly after the meeting, I was a little disgruntled by the fact that the vocal minority was upset about not participating in the survey and saying that they didn't know about the survey. But it seemed like, I don't know, it seemed like it's sort of a blindness toward the participation. I mean, they come out to every meeting, they know about the meetings, they voice their opinions, but they didn't participate in the information gathering. And I found that to be a little bit upsetting. I don't know if there's anything that we collectively can do, again, just to make sure that everybody knows about the process and how they can participate. But I think y'all did a great job of addressing that and, just noting all of the ways that, that the information had been put out there. But that was just something that I noted at the meeting. So.
Sure, thank you.
Absolutely.
But I think you should get the Academy Award for the way you conducted that meeting, because we had our 2 resident, it's okay. They have their point of view, but you handled it so diplomatically. I was just
You did.
almost wanted to laugh, but I didn't want to say anything. You did, but I want you to know you did a good job.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to new business. The first item there, fiscal year 2019-2020 budget update.
Yes. So we finished up with December, so now we're at the mid-year point. In terms of just general expenditures, we're doing well. Everything seems a little off right now in terms of revenue. We're only at about 40%, but that's because once we hit the spring and summer registration, then all those numbers will jump up. And then in regards to the expenditures, we're at 44% overall. So we're doing very well with our
We're within
expenditures.
our budget.
Right. Considering also the re-envisioning and a lot of things up in limbo, I think we have to give our kudos to staff and to Eddie and Angie to being able to handle a lot of the uncertainties to this. But they've been able to make sure that we've been doing well.
Terrific. Thank you. Before we leave the topic, any questions?
I would agree. Next year we'll get to it, but in terms of the numbers, I would prefer you compare your actuals to budget and actuals to last year, not actual to 50% through the year. But it's okay because revenues are coming in because we have work classes in the summer.
Right.
That is something you should know and you should budget, so we should be able to compare actual revenue and actual expenses per budget and to prior year.
Right.
And then also, it's just a pet peeve, I always prefer revenues on the top and expenses next,
Okay.
so that then the net is the net, rather than putting priority or the perceived priority on expenditures versus revenue second.
Right.
Makes sense.
That's all I have on that item.
Okay. When could we see a format change incorporating councilman duties.
And that could be done at the next commission
Next
meeting.
commission meeting?
Right,
Sure.
if we wanted to.
Yeah, we can do that.
And so in regards, you said comparing the actuals of this year to the actuals of last year?
My strong recommendation, we're trying to get for the whole city, is when we have a period close, like, where we're December.
Right.
We're comparing the period and year-to-date, prior year to budget to actual.
Okay.
And then looking at the differences from prior year and the difference from budget.
You want to more see a budget that's flowed out month by month, so
There has-
that you can
there-
compare it to a
there
real,
absolutely
and that's what we
must-
do all the time. It's,
There must be a
there's
monthly
seasonality to all of this that you need to, when you have a budget, then you need to do it by month based on prior year's experience, so that you know, okay, yes, we know revenue's coming in the summer, but our budget shows that, so we're at 100% of where we should be, or better or worse.
I have I have an additional idea, I like these ideas. Let's draw it out to like maybe 5 to 7 years. Because you can't really judge the budget versus actual for this year, and quite possibly last year, to how we were doing prior to this engagement and the discussion of should we or should we not have recreation, because that has an impact on people.
Oh, clearly, because I think that, there's been a lack of momentum because of the uncertainty. So if you can get some certainty and some stability, that 3-year ramp is going to be much different than the current trend line.
That's if the council approves continuing with the
And the
recreation.
council will react positively to good plans.
So if that's something that we could add to it too.
Is it possible for the February special meeting to have something like that? I don't know if there's.
I know we can make
bandwidth.
some of those changes. I don't know about every single one of them, but we can make some of the changes, the
Okay.
basic.
It might be helpful then
Yeah.
in the discussion so that we can present something
Sure,
perhaps
we
meaningful.
will
then to
work on that.
council. Thank you, guys. Okay, any other thoughts, questions? Okay, moving on, the 2020 event and meeting calendar. Do you want me to do that?
I'll start it. The regular meetings are typically the fourth Monday, so I want you to look at that. Is that still going to work for everybody? And then I want you to go down, and I'm going to have Robert present the rest of them. And then we're going to add into there the special meeting that we had moved to approve.
Okay.
So I'll let Robert complete that.
So I spoke to Eva in regards to the regular meeting schedule, and she's currently working on identifying the commission bylaws to figure out if the commission can change the regular meeting schedule or if it has to be taken to
I
council.
thought it was taken, the last time I modified it, I thought we took it to council. Do you remember?
You typically have
Because
to
we
take it to
met
council.
4 times a year, then we went to
Yeah,
6.
we went to 6 times a year, and yeah, it was to council.
This is just 5 times a year. Oh wait, no, 6 and
6.
January. I missed you.
Because the concern at the time, a few years ago when we wanted to move to 4 times, and it's not inconsistent with the Blue Ribbon. I think the Blue Ribbon Committee wanted us to meet more, at least early on, to sort of discuss and to sort out the recreation issues. But either way, I'm not sure if we went to, I think council.
We went to 6,
Yeah.
6 times a year.
We need to, do does
Yes,
council need to?
council actually approved it the last time.
That's true, okay.
So that being the case, then, in order to change the regular meeting schedule, we would have to take it to council. So for right now, what we have is the schedule for 2020 as it's been approved. So we have our January meeting, then we have one in the end of March, 23rd. We have one the end of April on the 27th. The one for May, it is going to conflict with Memorial Day. So staff is recommending for a special meeting for that.
Yeah.
And then there's also the June, and not June,
So-
the August, October.
and October.
So I'm not sure what are you taking to council? The modifications to our schedule?
Oh, if we want to.
If you want
If,
to.
right.
If you want to
If we
change
think
your
that
regular schedule.
Want to go to.
My recommendation is for us to go to 10, because one of the problems with recreation is it's thought of as a subset of the entire city. It's been kind of like a second child. And I think that we're just as important as public safety. I mean, look at the library trustee, they meet every month. I don't see how a lot of things will change with the library trustee. They meet once a month. And then you have, before we came, you had them coming once every, 3 months for recreation?
Yeah, well,
I think that
wonderful.
diminishes the importance that we have for recreation. I think that we're equal to everyone. And I'm thinking, besides like maybe taking a break in July and maybe taking a break
Like during the-
Memorial Day
the
or something
school-
like that, I think 10 days a year is
You can make
Is
a
it-
motion for that if you want. I still have to take that to council.
I made a motion, okay. I recommend that, I'll go one step further. I'll recommend that to keep things equitable for all commissions, that we should go once a month.
Okay.
You'll need a second.
Before that,
Okay.
Discussion.
I want to kind of get councils. If we meet once a month, what's your take? Are you thinking, yeah, the Recreation Commission could actually give us a little more guidance, advice?
No, hadn't thought about it, no real idea. Quarterly sounds passive to me. And if you're trying to reinvigorate and get some life
Yeah.
back into recreation, more than quarterly.
Okay.
Now, is that monthly or is it every other month or I have no idea, but I think, more action and advocacy is positive.
Okay. I don't know if the school board, do you guys have any thoughts if we will like your continued representation?
Or
Yeah, that's-
maybe focus on putting your plan together,
Mhm.
your recommended plan, and seeing what's required to drive that plan and move it forward.
Okay. To get to that plan, I would imagine it'd be more frequency in the meetings.
I think having it
Deeper
once a
discussion.
month brings the importance
Yeah.
of recreation to the table,
Also keeps-
equal to.
And do you want to keep it on
Trustees.
Mondays?
Fine.
Do you want to keep it on the fourth Monday?
Monday, I'm fine with that.
Well,
Nothing
but
else changes.
We have to be mindful, a lot of people are getting paid for our meetings, right? I mean, right? Staff. So that's increasing the budget, number two.
Not our
So
budget.
what, huh?
I mean, look at the trustees.
admin budget.
They have a budget. Why is it that we have to sacrifice our budget when?
No, is it wise spending of the money? That's all I'm getting at.
Just an FYI, the trustees, do they meet in the morning during regular work hours?
Yes, they do. They meet at 7:30.
Okay, yep. But go on with your discussion.
That's one. Number two, I think what we want to do is, right now, when we should meet more often, I think we have those special meetings as much as we want. But I don't think we create this once a month and set it in stone, because the city is almost at the point of paying people to take rec commission positions right now. No one's stepping up.
I don't think the advertisement is conducive to the expectations.
Advertising, I think, just shut down, right? Because
Everybody
there's
keeps saying we're going to close. They keep asking how long I will be in the
Yeah, there's a
commission.
lot of negativity through that's
Right.
preventing people from applying. Or, I think once we get through this
Right,
and make
so
a
let's have our special
determination.
meetings, let's have our special meetings, get through this process, instead of binding people, and you know what? If I were thinking about joining commission, it makes a lot of difference for me to go once every 2 months versus every month. And if you decide to do it during work hours, I'm out. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, let's make it palatable, and for now, let's just have special meetings.
I agree. I mean, looking at the schedule going forward, we have this meeting, if we have a special meeting in February, we already have a March, April, and May meeting set. So that gives us until May to figure out whether or not, we haven't met when was our last meeting? October. I definitely think we need some more momentum. We got to get moving on this, but I don't know if this is the point that we need to reevaluate the entire schedule. I think we can just, take our next 5 meetings or whatever it's going to be and get some good work done, and then look at the schedule again.
So nothing really precludes us, I think, right, from just calling a special meeting?
I have to ask Eva to be sure, but I don't think so.
I mean, is it as simple as, say, my good friend Luis calling me up, hey, Ray, we need to get together, and then me then coordinating with perhaps you, Josette, and just say, hey, can we get a special meeting together? Can you just post the agenda bulletin, and then we'll
I
come
think
back?
you can do a special meeting anytime.
Yeah,
Okay.
And
I don't think there's
I
any.
really would not focus your concern on 6 months from now. I'd focus your stuff on the next 8 weeks to help
To
us
get
get
the
a plan,
budget
the
together.
budget together. Because once we get a budget done, then we know what direction we're going in.
Yeah.
That's where we really need the input and the help.
Okay. Okay. Then maybe this is maybe something that we can consider longer term.
Okay, so, yeah, I'll withdraw my motion. I just wanted to express my opinions about the importance that recreation has
Oh,
and the importance of meeting equitable to other commissions. So if I ever leave, that's my position. Is
Well, no,
to
I won't take it.
eventually get to a point where we're equitable with other commissions.
Okay.
And I just want to put this out there, each of my commissioners have my contact information, and so if there are concerns about recreation, just let me know and we can convene a
So
special
is there any
session.
motion on the table, or? you
So,
withdrew it?
motion
Okay.
has been withdrawn.
Okay, just wanted to be sure.
So then that being the case, we do need to select a February special meeting date.
But
Or
then she
do we
said she's
wanna-
going to look the date. She's gonna
I'll
the-
look at the dates and then
Yeah.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it out and we'll try to come up with a date that works
Okay.
for everybody.
And then as far as the May meeting, since that will fall on Memorial Day.
We could do it.
It's okay with me because it's Monday, we
School
all
is
come
out the
back.
following Friday, is that right?
No,
Yeah, school's just
Memorial
not out.
Day weekend is the last week of school.
Is the last week of school,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So-
we still here because, yeah,
Maybe on Wednesday.
Monday everybody's
I don't
back.
have a calendar
Okay.
in front of me.
So Memorial Day, everyone's out, then Tuesday, one's back, and then Friday.
Yeah, that's why
is
the Monday night
Friday's the
meeting is
last-
fine.
Last day.
Last day.
Memorial Day?
But you have staff though that's,
No, they won't be.
they wouldn't be
Yeah.
here.
Oh, no, we're not, oh, you weren't suggesting we hold it on Memorial Day?
I'm saying either way is fine.
Oh,
That
oh,
week
either
we
way,
are
okay,
here.
okay.
Everybody be-
Maybe that Wednesday might work, though.
Okay.
If there's no other major meetings that.
And then I
don't
think,
know about.
Oh,
isn't
it's
graduation, yeah, no, grad night's on Friday.
Graduation's on Friday.
Yeah, but
okay.
I think the.
Oh,
weekend
what's
was-
light up?
What's
Middle
that?
school is
It's
on
light up.
Thursday.
Light up.
Light up, when is light
So
up?
Might be
either it's
Wednesday.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Might be
It's
Wednesday.
all
Maybe
busy
Wednesday
day.
for the.
So Wednesday.
You
I
can move
mean,
the
it could
week
always
before.
be-
Is
We can
Tuesday
do it the
better?
week before.
You
Because
can do the
Wednesday-
third Monday, is move the week before.
Yeah,
Before, I think we done that
Okay.
I think that's
before.
what we did last.
Don't
year.
move later, just move up.
Okay.
Yeah, perhaps maybe move it the Monday before.
Sure.
Yeah.
19th or something?
Something like a.
Do we need a
ceremony.
motion for that, or is that?
No, it's just adjusting day.
And then if
We
it
still
doesn't,
need to do the
if
post
that doesn't
anyway.
work, we could, you could send an email.
Okay.
Suggesting a few options maybe.
Sure.
Okay, terrific.
And then everything else on the calendar is just for your information. So again, Angie and Eddie are working very aggressively on getting all these major events going. So this is an FYI for the commission.
Thank you, guys. Okay,
And that's it for the calendar.
terrific. Okay, moving on to the track meet update.
And
Just
this
coming
is
up.
just basically an update. February 28th is the scheduled date for the track meet. It's the 45th annual, so we've been doing this a long time. Eddie, I think, has some information for you if you have any questions for him.
So February 28th.
Yes, Friday, February.
Okay.
Can I ask that, when's the, are you still printing out that book? Or we're not printing books for recreation farming? You know,
Yeah, the recreation guide, yes.
When's the guy coming out for summer activities, do you know?
It'll be in the minute before. The spring guide will be out
Okay.
the end of February.
Yeah, because right now parents sign on summer program much
Yeah,
earlier.
there's a preview in the spring guide for this summer.
Okay.
Okay.
And I hear this is very well attended, so I'm excited to come.
So the track meet is good, and usually we have very good volunteers from this commission. And so if I can encourage our fellow commissioners to perhaps volunteer even an hour or two, would
Yeah,
be
reg-
very good
actually-
for the city. To show up where your recreation gear and
We
should be.
usually are at the registration desk helping out, and I think that really works really well. because after that, we could actually leave if we
You
wanted.
can actually watch the races, watch the kids run around. But there's nothing quite like reconnecting with all the other city residents. It's a great city. It's such a small city. Be there to be able to see the kids run, and especially if your own kids are participating. It's great.
It's an exciting event. I think everyone should attend, whether they have kids or not, because it's really an exciting, fun-filled event that everyone gets excited about them running around the track.
And they're excited about the city too.
Yeah,
So it's great. Okay.
it's a great place to be on that Friday.
Yes, please.
So we have a board meeting tomorrow, so I will, can I take these extra flyers and I will mention it to my
Oh,
fellow,
absolutely. You know,
fellow
the
board members?
board is more than welcome to volunteer because
So-
I saw them last year too.
Lisa Link
Lisa was
last
there.
year.
I wasn't able, yeah, I wasn't able
Okay,
to.
well, there's another year to this year, and then we're gonna ask,
Hey, any chance we can peer pressure the city council too? Certainly, it's a great event, whoever can volunteer. So.
You were able to outreach to the each school, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, so we've reached out to Huntington Middle School, to Carver, and to Valentine Schools. They have it in their email, in their blast that they send out weekly. And they actually put it on their main page. Usually for the recreation department, you have to click, and then it takes you to another area, but they were actually generous enough to put it on the main page. So people can just click on that link and go directly to the city website to download the registration forms.
Are there enough resources? Do you have enough volunteers? If not, I suppose high schoolers who need to fulfill their service hours is an
Yeah,
option as
so
well.
we should have enough participants or staff and volunteers to get us through the evening.
Okay.
The invitations for volunteering will be coming out probably at the end of this week or by next week to give everybody about a month advance notice. If they're able to help us out, then they can go ahead and contact us and let us know.
Yeah, especially the high schoolers who need to fulfill
Right.
those service hours. It's a great way.
Make sure you just go to the PE teacher because I know
Yeah,
they're
so-
very influential to students.
Yeah, I've personally spoken to each PE teacher, and they're all aware, and they've been promoting the event with their students. They've been practicing track and field meet, and so yeah, every year we're in frequent communication with them to make sure that we're on the same level, and they all said they support it 100%. So.
Terrific.
We did receive already a donation as well for $2,000 from SMCAA,
Oh, good.
so we did receive that as well,
Okay.
which is very generous of them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eddie.
and Eddie, do you usually put posters up at the schools?
We do. We have banners at the schools, at Carver, on the fence there, and Valentine on the lawn, and then we have one here in front of the
In
library.
front of the library, I saw it.
So, yeah, that's getting the word out.
Yeah, we are.
Great, thank you.
Terrific. Okay. Any other thoughts, questions on the track meet?
No, thank you, Eddie. He's working very hard on it.
Thank you. Okay, that takes care of new business. Any other questions, thoughts before I go ahead and just wrap this up? Just want to make sure that everyone who wants to be heard is heard. Okay, with that being said, written communications or public writings distributed. All public writings distributed by the City of San Marino to at least a majority of the Recreation Commission regarding any item on this agenda is available at the Recreation Department located at Stoneman at 1560 Pascalito Drive, San Marino, California, 91108. So seeing that we have no members of the public here, I'll forego that. And so the San Marino Recreation Commission will adjourn to a regular meeting to be held on, actually, we're going to have a special session in February.
Yes.
And then a regular session on Monday, March 23rd at 7 p.m. at the San Marino Center at the Fireside Room right next door. So everyone, thank you very much for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Thank you, staff. Thank you very much. And Lori, thank you.
You good?
Yes, I wanted to ask you.
We should have like a section for our
Thank you for coming.
I was there.
I know. I didn't say you have a meeting. Thank you for coming.